Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Hannah and this is Jar of Fireflies. And here you will find videos all about my life as an Orthodox Jewish homeschooling mother of 3. And today I'm taking my kids backpacking. Okay, so we have been planning and preparing for this trip for quite some time. This is my kids' first foray into the backpacking world. I used to go backpacking a lot before I got married, back when I was single, things like that. I grew up camping. I love it. And I've been waiting for my kids to be able to handle even just a tiny backpacking trip like this. So for this trip, we're all carrying packs. It's super awesome. And we are hiking out probably less than half a mile probably to our campsite, but there is no electricity, there is no running water, and there are no bathrooms. We are, like I said, about half a mile or so away from any of those amenities. So this is as close to backpacking as like real, I guess, quote unquote, backpacking or backcountry camping or whatever that we're going to get for now. I just wanted to try it out, see how it went, and go from there. Because even though I have been backpacking in the past, my kids certainly haven't, and I have never been backpacking with kids. So adventure ensuing now. Okay, so just because I'm pretty sure these questions will come up later if I don't answer them now. First off, we are just at a local state park, not too terribly far from where we live. But like I said, there are those amenities there, but just not at our campsite or really quite very close. So we are having to hike out with all of our stuff. We are hiking out in one trip because we have packed everything on our packs. My oldest son is carrying a pack that weighs 15 pounds. My daughter is carrying a pack that weighs 6 pounds, and my toddler is carrying a pack that weighs 3 pounds. Okay, so we have made it to our campsite. We've got our packs off. My back feels so much lighter now because I literally just lost 30 pounds on my back. So we're coming down to check out our little beach area. And wow, this is seriously the best campsite that there is up here. I am pretty stoked. Here, let me show you. Okay, so first of all, we've got our own little private beach area, which is so nice to have such beautiful access to the lake. Not every campsite has such easy access to the lake where the kids can just really play. So you can see we've got a little fire pit there. We've got a thing to hang our food on there. We've got lots of open space surrounded by a lot of trees, and bonus, this campsite is down a small trail from the main trail. So we've got tons of privacy out here, and there are 3 really good spots to pitch a tent. So yeah, I've got some choices to make, I suppose. Oh, and also this campsite does have a picnic table, so that is super awesome. So I've got all our bags there on the picnic table, and I'm starting to unpack a few things to start setting up our camp area. Hanging up the food first, just to get that away from insects or animals, because there are definitely animals out here. And now I'm going to set up the tent. Now, as you can see, it is super duper windy out here. The wind really didn't let up almost the entire trip. It was a very windy camping trip, but that's okay. But still, I needed to set up our tent, and I don't have a tarp that fits all the way underneath my tent, so I am using 2 tarps so that my tent will be completely safe from whatever may be underneath the tent there on the ground. I don't want to damage my tent. So that's why I'm laying out the tarps, and I'm laying those out with some stones so that it doesn't blow away. Now, this tent that I have is a new tent. I have put it together once to practice at home, but I purchased this tent specifically for backpacking. My husband purchased, we purchased, whatever. It was my birthday present, so there you go. I picked it out. It's a Mountain Hardwear backpacking tent. It fits 3 people. Now, we are 4, me and my 3 kids, except my kids are, well, they're tiny, and I'm not so big either. So we're going to lay the short ways across the tent and see how that works. The tent itself was really simple to put together. It was very easy to do with just one person. Obviously, more people could have helped, and I suppose I could have put it up faster. But even in this really big wind, it only took me maybe 15 minutes to put up by myself. And of course, when I say 15 minutes, that also included, answering questions and dealing with kids and other things that moms do when they're camping, because, hey, that doesn't change just because you're in the woods. I did have a little bit of trouble at this point because the tent was kind of blown all over the place. Next time I'll probably stake it down first. And I had also hooked one of the things that hooks onto the poles wrong, but I fixed that here in a little bit and it all worked out just fine. So this is a freestanding tent, meaning that it does not need to be staked into the ground. However, with the wind, I felt like it was a good idea to stake it into the ground because I really didn't want the tent to blow away. I have seen tents blow away in Texas, even filled with stuff. Like the winds here, they can be strong. So there I am staking the tent down, and the ground here was nice and soft. We've had recent rains, so I just used my foot there with my shoe to get the stakes down there in the ground. And there's the kids coming in offering to help, and they want to see what's going on and how it's all working. Of course, I want to teach and show, and there's the tent almost blowing away. So yeah, fun times. Tent stakes, good idea, people. Oh, and for anybody new around here, as I mentioned, I am an Orthodox Jew. So yes, I do go backpacking and camping and, well, everything in life wearing a skirt or a dress still counts. So that is why I am wearing a dress today. Okay, and back to tent building. I am just putting the last stake there on the last corner. I'm just putting in 4 stakes. I think that ought to do it. And now I'm putting the last little tent pole there on top of the tent. This will help pull out so we have a little bit more headroom inside. Overall, this tent doesn't have a whole lot of headroom. You definitely can't stand up in it or anything like that, but we're not there to stand up in the tent. We're there to sleep. That to me is what it needs to do. That's all. So I am done now with the tent. I do have that rain fly there that I'm picking up off the ground, but I decided not to do the rain fly because we're really out here away from everybody. It's not going to rain and we've got privacy. So there's the kids. They're playing down there in the lake. I don't know if you can see them off there in the distance. So they're just playing down there happily. So I'm just going to continue working on getting our tent set up. I'm unpacking my sleeping bag right now, and I'm going to load the tent up with all of our various sleeping bags. Now I'm going to double that stuff sack there that I just pulled the sleeping bag out as a food bag on this trip. So anyhow, there are our sleeping bags all laid out there in the tent, ready to go. It's late afternoon by this point. We didn't get out there until, oh gosh, probably about 2:30 when we got out there. So it's already definitely later in the day here on this trip. Now we do have friends that are joining us, and they have joined us by this point and are getting themselves set up. And while they're getting themselves set up, I'm enjoying this beautiful scenery and coming down here to do a little water filtering. Okay, so like I mentioned, we are not anywhere near running water. However, we are very close to this beautiful freshwater lake. Beautiful, I mean, look at the water. It's not spectacular. I wouldn't just drink out of the lake, but I have this cute little Sawyer Mini that is an awesome portable water filtration device. So this camping trip is the first time that I've really used it for real, outside of, testing into my sink at home. I was, however, thoroughly impressed with the filtration on this thing, both the ease of use as well as the clarity of the water and the taste of the water. That is amazing. Okay, with the water filtered, I filtered up that whole big bottle of water and went ahead and packed up another bag of the water from the lake so that I'd be ready to filter more later. And then I decided to go ahead and build us a campfire. It's definitely still a little bit cool this time of year, especially with all this wind coming off the lake and things like that, and plenty of shade around us. So the campfire was very nice. So I got that going. The kids got to hang out there and here at the table, which was close enough. And then I started working on dinner. I have an alcohol stove, so it just burns isopropyl alcohol. It's really handy. And then I was able to rehydrate some food that I have been dehydrating at home. We made our own little backpacking meals. So for dinner tonight, it was a taco pasta. After dinner was over, it was maybe around 7 o'clock, so the sun was starting to set, and I gathered up all of our garbage to bring it back down to the main area. So my oldest son and I went on a little hike, and we were treated to some deer and then an armadillo. I have not seen an armadillo in quite some time, at least not one alive. We see them a lot on the side of the road, but these suckers are quick. I had no idea. Okay, so my son and I went down to the restroom and to get a couple things from the car. We forgot stuffed animals earlier, so we grabbed those. And I took the trash out. That was really, okay. That was really my main mission, was to take the trash out so it wasn't at our campsite. And we have seen such fun wildlife. Oh my goodness. So it's been a fun little adventure here this evening, but we are all about to retire now that dinner is over, just once it gets dark, which will be any minute at this point. So it's been a fun first day, and I will see you guys in the morning. Morning came and I was up with the sun. I grabbed my cup and I headed down towards the lake so that I could do my morning hand washing. Yep, I do this even when I'm camping. If we didn't have the lake right here, I would have used just some water that I had brought out to the campsite, but this is something that I've got to do every single day. I have to say, it was really quite phenomenal being able to come out here on the side of the lake with the sun rising right in front of me and wash my hands. It was just such a reminder to me of who it is that I am speaking to when I recite my blessing over washing hands and as I begin my davening. It's just seeing this beauty out here. It was just, wow, it was really fantastic. I could really sit and stare at this view all day. However, the sunrise doesn't last forever. But I did get to sit and watch this view of the lake most of the day, and that was pretty fantastic. My oldest son was the next to wake up, and he got our hand washing cup and went down there towards the lake to start his morning routine. And then my toddler woke up, and he was not quite ready to be sociable, but he was very ready to be out there with me, so I snuggled him up in a blanket on my chair. And my daughter was still resting in the tent. She was kind of up and sleeping, sort of catnapping there in the morning, and we thought that was great. So while all that was going on, I got started on breakfast. I just lit up my little alcohol stove. I put 2 ounces of alcohol in this. It's a Tokes stove, and just light it with a match. And it was pretty windy, so I had it down there on the ground next to the fire pit to kind of block some of the wind. And then I just put my tea kettle of water on top. I'm going to boil water and cook us up some breakfast. So for breakfast, I had oatmeal with raisins, and my son had grits with vegan bacon bits and a cheese sauce, and that was really delicious. I made these meals all myself because finding kosher backpacking food is pretty darn near impossible. After breakfast, it was super windy, so we decided we would take a hike around the campground. There was a hike a little ways out we could go to that had a kids fishing pond, so we thought we'd go check that out. And on the way, of course, we spotted some more cool wildlife, which always makes me excited. Okay, so last night was about what I would expect for sleeping our first night here at the campground. And that's fine. I expect that we won't sleep well, that the kids will, wake up and need me throughout the night. That's fine. So anyways, we're out here now. We took off to go on a little nature hike. It was really windy at our campsite this morning, which is great. I mean, it's beautiful weather. It cannot be. This little overcast and just really beautiful. So we decided to go out on a little nature hike and hike out to a fishing pond that they have out here. So that is what we're doing right now. The hike out was super fun. The kids did an awesome job hiking out there and back. And speaking of back, when we got back, it was lunchtime and the kids were hungry after that big hike. So I went ahead and lit up the stove again and got our lunches ready. For lunch today, we had some kids were eating Thanksgiving in a pouch, which is what my daughter's eating there. And then my son was eating a miso salmon soup. So yeah, they were really enjoying the food. And quite frankly, so was I. I definitely brought too much food, but that's okay. I'd rather have too much than too little, that's for sure. And it was really, really nice to have hot meals out there. I probably didn't need to have a hot meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but it was still nice to have hot food because I don't so often necessarily have hot food on a camping trip. So it was definitely a nice treat. Now, this was our only full day out here at the campground. We were spending only 2 nights, so 2 partial days, and then this day here, which was the full day. And tomorrow, on the final day of our trip, we do have a bunch of friends coming out to join us. So we do plan to spend the entire day out here at the park, but just hanging out with our friends and stuff like that. But these couple of days here at the beginning are just us and our one other set of friends. So it's really nice just to spend time with them and with the kids and just kind of have this nice, quiet, relaxing break out here in the woods. So with the variety of our backpacking food, I brought more food than we needed, and I brought more variety than we needed for how many meals we were going to have out there. So we did a little meal switching sometimes, the kids and I. So we did eventually get to try all of the food, and I've got great ideas for more food we can bring on our next trip like this, and I'm entirely having way too much fun with the food. But such is a Jewish thing, to be all into food, because kosher. Okay, so we just got back from our walk a little bit ago, and the kids ran down and started swimming in the lake as soon as we got back, and the mamas got to work making some lunch. We had a couple of the different meals, which was really fun. One was a miso salmon bowl, and then the other one was Thanksgiving in a pouch. So both were delicious. It was really fun. I got to try a little bit of both, so that was nice. We all kind of shared a little bit. So now I think we're just gonna hang out this afternoon. The walk this morning, I think, really wore the kids out. We were gone for at least a couple of hours, probably more. We were gone for a long time. So I think we're just gonna chill here, and then we're planning a little twilight hike through the woods later, right around sundown, so that we can look for some animals. So I may just wait and check back in with you guys then, so we can just enjoy being outside and being together here with our family and friends. I would truly say the majority of the trip was spent just relaxing and playing. And for me, as the mama, just, food, water, and making sure the kids were safe and just watching them have fun. And for the kids, they did a lot of, they like to gather sticks and they wanted to build fires and, things like that. And they wanted to explore the nature. They were making up all of these games. Nobody was camping in the sites nearby us, so the kids were kind of taking over some of the other campsites as their adopted play areas. And, it was just so much fun, and lots of playing in the water and, just exploring nature and looking at the different wildlife that was out there. It was just great. It was so much fun to watch them. It's always so much fun to watch them learn and grow when we're spending all this time outdoors. And I, of course, brought a book, so I got to spend some of my time doing one of my favorite pastimes, which is reading. I brought Bill Bryson's A Walk in the Woods. This is my second time to read this, and I also got to spend some time reading it out loud to the kids. Of course, I chose the chapter about when the bears come to their campsite, but, hindsight is 20/20. But it worked out okay. Nobody was afraid of bears because we don't have bears here in this part of Texas. But anyhow, it was getting towards dinner time, and the kids were hungry, but I didn't quite want to serve dinner yet. So I served this strawberry shortcake that I had made by dehydrating some cake and adding some freeze-dried strawberries. So we just rehydrated that with some hot water, and everybody got to eat some. And it was just a really fun mid-afternoon, late afternoon treat there before dinner. I guess I had technically brought this to be dessert, but by the time we were done with dinner every night, I never felt like making dessert, so it was fun to have as a snack. Speaking of dinner, we had some Tex-Mex beans and rice for dinner, so that was tasty. Okay, so it is the evening again, and we just did a little hike out to the bathrooms. I just got a little cleaned up, changed my clothes, and we're headed back, probably to go to bed soon because the sun is going down. Oh, and we took the trash out. But we've had a lovely afternoon of just sitting around, visiting and reading and hanging out and watching the kids play. And, it's been fun putting Band-Aids on kids, So, yeah, there were a few scraped knees today. But they were just, oh my gosh, they were having so much fun. So, yeah, so we're just headed back now. And that's about it. I don't really know that I'm going to be filming it tomorrow. We do have some other friends coming out to join us for the day, but it's pretty much just, pack up, hanging out with a bunch of friends, and then going home. So I'm going to go ahead and close the video here just because I want to focus on all the people and everything tomorrow. And I think we've got probably enough footage to make a pretty long video already for this backpacking trip. So Thank you all so much for coming along. I super appreciate it, as always. Let me know if you have any questions about any of the stuff you saw in this video. I know we did a lot of new things for me, so maybe they're new for you too, as far as like the food and everything. But in the meantime, be sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video and that subscribe button if you haven't already, so that you don't miss any of my future videos. Thank you all so much for watching. I super enjoyed bringing you along this trip. I hope that you all have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in my next upload.